Good morning, Laracon. I tend to go to a lot of conferences these days, but Laracon US is probably the one I was looking most forward to. I'm really happy to be here, and I hope you're happy to be here as well. Thank you, Taylor, for putting in all the work to make this happen. I'm going to talk about a dashboard that I've created a while ago, and it leverages cool stuff like Laravel, Vue, and Pusher. I'm Freek van der Herten. I'm a partner and a developer at a company called Spatie. Like many of you, I'm active on Twitter. My handle is Freek Moarrr, and I have a blog, moarrr.be, where I talk about modern PHP development and Laravel. Together with these two awesome guys, I organize the local user group in Antwerp. That's my hometown in Belgium. So if you're ever in the vicinity of Antwerp and you want to give a talk, just let us know. We're looking for talks of any level and of any length. Now, my company is called Spatie. It's been around since 2003. We create websites, applications, and web shops. Our team is quite small. We only consist of 4 developers and 1 manager, and we specialize in Laravel development. Now, before going into the main talk, I want to say a few things about open source software first. We currently have a little more over than 150 packages registered on Packagist. They've been downloaded for 4 million times now, and they are being downloaded 500 times a month. Creating open source software has a lot of benefits for us. First, we learn stuff while creating those packages. We also have to write quality documentation, because without documentation, nobody's going to use our package. We also have to write tests, because without tests, nobody's going to trust our package. There's also a little bit of a commercial aspect to it as well. If you look at the source code of our packages, then I think you'll conclude that we know our way around PHP and Laravel, and that helps to attract clients. And of course, we use those packages in our own projects too. So if you're in a position in your company to push the development of open source packages, I encourage you to do so. So even though we're a very small team, only 2 developers actually, we've managed to take the number 4 position on the GitHub Awards site, which lists GitHub organizations by the amount of stars on their repos. And you can see that Laravel is really good at the number 1 position here. Take a look at our company website, at the open source page. I'm pretty sure if you use Laravel that we've built something that could be of use to you in your next project. Those packages are not entirely free. There is a special license on them called postcardware. So if any of our stuff makes it into your production environment, we want to have a postcard. This is our address. I'm currently missing like 3,900,099 postcards, so I want to have them. This is the wall. We have a wall in our office where we hang all those postcards. We also publish them on our website. And yeah, if we look around in our office, let's turn a little bit around. Then you see at the end of our office there is a screen hanging. Let's take a closer look. That is our dashboard. So I'm going to explain how this thing works behind the scenes. But let's first take a look at what is being displayed there. So first, we have a Twitter feed with all tweets that are mentioning or quoting our company. Next up, we have a list of events that are important to our company. So you see that I practiced this talk at PHP Limburg, which is a Belgian province. At our company, we are all big music lovers, so we want to know which music is playing in our office. This tile displays that. It uses a service called LastFM, and that service allows you to install a little helper on your computer, and it will send the track that's playing in iTunes to their service, and we use an API call to get that current track. That's how that tile works. This tile really needs no explanation. That's just the date and the time. And you can see here that I took this screenshot on a very sunny day in Belgium. I've mentioned that we do open source work, and we take pride in that, so we display a few statistics on that as well. We get these numbers out of Packagist, and we have a few statistics that we get out of GitHub as well. That issue number, I hope I'll get it to 0 someday, but it hasn't happened yet. Those tiles in the middle, those contain the tasks that our team should be working on. So that's we refresh those tasks every week. One of our packages that we've made is an uptime monitor, and we've integrated that in our dashboard. So if any of our sites that we maintain for our clients is down, they will show up on our dashboard. So that's in short what is being displayed at that dashboard. The dashboard itself is also entirely open source. So the repo that's being displayed here contains the actual source code that we use for our dashboard. Let's take a high-level overview of how this dashboard is built. In short, it's just a single HTML page that's being displayed in a full-screen browser. Once that page has been loaded, we don't want to reload it again, because if you reload the page, then you see it building up, and we want our dashboard to be as quiet and as smooth as possible. So what do we do if we can't reload the page? We dynamically update it with JavaScript. And each tile has its own update frequency. The clock obviously is being updated once a second, and those numbers from Packagist and GitHub, they get refreshed, I think, once in an hour. So this is the technology stack that we've used. And during this talk, I'll always ask the 3 questions. The first one is going to be a little bit funny. Who here uses Laravel? Okay, I see a few hands. Okay, cool. Who here has experience with using Pusher service? Okay, still a lot. And who here uses Vue.js? Okay, quite a lot. For those who don't know Vue.js, we're going to give a very short crash course in it so you can follow all the rest. So, first up, Laravel. Obviously, we use the latest version of Laravel. We like to use the latest versions of everything in our company. And we use Laravel to render that initial page. It's just a blade view. And we use Laravel to fetch data from external APIs, which we'll go over in a second. And we do that in a scheduled way. And what Laravel will also do is it will broadcast events out when new data arrives. So we fetch data from various sources, and when building the dashboard, I was searching for some packages to pull in that data with, but I couldn't find really good ones, so I decided to build a few myself. The first one is the Twitter streaming API package. It makes it very easy to listen for events on the streams that Twitter provides. Twitter has a few real-time feeds. You have the public feed where all the tweets of everybody are passing through, and you have the user feed where every event of a user is being passed through, and you can subscribe to that very easily with our package. The second one, Laravel Google Calendar, we use that to pull in data from a Google Calendar, and you remember that second tile that I showed with the events that are important for our company. We fetch those from a Google Calendar. Now, in this project, we only use our own package to read data, but it can also write data. So if you have a project where you need to write something to Google Calendar, take a look at our second package. The third one is for fetching that current track. Packagist, that makes it very easy to work with Packagist, and the GitHub makes it very easy to pull out of data from GitHub. So, second thing in our stack is Pusher, and they describe the service as themselves as that they provide a full duplex communication channel over a single TCP connection. Now, you might know that as WebSockets. I tend to call that magic because it works so well and so fast. So we use that to transport the events that Laravel sends out from the server to the browser. It does that in real time. It does it also in a secure way. It's not that there is much sensitive data being displayed at our dashboard, but the tasks that our team should be working on, we tend to keep that a little bit private. I should also mention that Pusher is a paid service, but I think you get the first 100,000 events per day free. And this dashboard only uses like 4,000 events a day, so you're so the free plan is big enough. So the last thing that we leverage is Vue.js, which is a very easy to learn JavaScript framework, which is obviously loved by many of us, and I can understand why. Vue and Laravel share this goal of trying to maximize developer happiness. Now, in our project, each tile is its own Vue component, and it will listen for incoming events with Laravel Echo. Laravel Echo, in case you don't know, is a JavaScript framework that Taylor built to easily consume events that are broadcast by Laravel at the client side. And when a new event comes in, we obviously are going to update the tile. So this is the flow in short. So Laravel will fetch data from external sources. When new data is found, it will send an HTTP request to the Pusher service, and Pusher with WebSockets will notify the browser, and the Vue component will update. So it's really not that hard. Okay, so I've given a lot of theory, but let's see it in practice. I'm going to show you the grid system, how you can position tiles on the dashboard. Then, for those who don't know Vue.js all that well, we're going to give a little crash course by explaining the clock tile, how that works. Then we're going to explain the packages style, which is a little bit more interesting because we have server-side events going on there. And then we're going to review the Twitter tile because it's just a cool tile. We will do some live coding and we will use an internet connection. So I hope it will all go well. So let's do this. Gonna move this here. Okay. So in my browser, I have a local copy of the dashboard that looks very similar to what you've seen in the screenshots. It's a little bit more empty. Let's go over to the project itself. So this is the demo version of the dashboard. Yeah, you're awake now with all that white light, right? So you can see here that the HTML is pretty simple for this. Let's see how we can create more columns and more rows. That's actually very easy. If you need an extra column, we have a property for that. So if I just refresh now, we have an extra column to position things. With the rows, just the same thing. Behind the scenes, we leverage CSS Grid to position the things, but I'm not going to delve into that really deep now. Let's see how we can position the tiles themselves. So I'm going to take this time weather tile. I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to put the rest in comments here, so we only have one thing to look at. And you can see that we have a position thing going on here. So I'm going to put this in A1, and if I refresh this, then we have only one component. So you should think of the dashboard as an Excel grid, where each row has a number and each column has a letter. So A1 is in the top left corner. If I want to move it up a little, I'm doing B1. Cool. If I want to make it a little bit bigger, then I can also use arrange. So now it's a little bit wider. I hope you can see that a little bit. The background is a little bit different. And of course, if you can't get enough of clocks, you can just make a second clock very easily, and now you have two clocks. Now for a clock, this doesn't make sense, but for the task that our team should be working on, it's just the same component with another member name. So that's how the positioning of the dashboard works. Okay, let me restore that real quickly so that we have a fully functioning dashboard again. I think this is it. Okay, cool. Let's dive a little bit into how that time weather tile works. So this is probably for the people that don't know Vue.js very well. They might wonder, what is this time weather tag? That isn't a valid HTML tag. This is the Vue side of things going on, and we are going to render a little Vue component here. Those components, they live in resources, assets, JavaScript, and I have a component directory here, and you can see here that each tile has its own component. Let's dive into the time weather component. And each Vue component in our project has a template, the HTML being rendered, and a script side of things where the behavior is defined. And what Vue will do is it will just replace the time weather tile with the template that is here. In that template, we have a few variables. So each component has a little bit of a state. Those are variables being used here. And the thing how Vue works is if you update those state variables, then the component itself will re-render. So let's dive a little bit into the behavior. Vue component can have a created method, and that's a little bit like a constructor on the PHP side of things. And when this component is created, we are going to call a function refresh time. We are going to do that every second. That refresh time method, that is just going to get the date and the time, and we use moment here, which is a popular JavaScript framework to format dates, and we are going to put this in the date and time state of this component. And just by updating that variable, this piece of HTML will re-render and our dashboard works. That's in a nutshell how you can accomplish things with Vue.js. Let's go a little bit, maybe a little bit deeper here with the weather. How do we build up that? That's also managed entirely client side. We are also going to call a fetch weather function when the component is created, and we are going to update it every quarter of an hour. And that is this function. We are going to await the weather conditions, and when we have those conditions, we are going to put it in the state of the component, and the component will re-render. Now, that weather conditions thingy, that's a service that we have here, and we basically use the Yahoo APIs. Yahoo has an API to fetch the weather, and we are going to perform a query on that for our city, and we will just leverage Axios to get us the response. And we have the async await thing here going on, which I'm not going to delve in now. It's just something that makes asynchronous programming very easy in JavaScript. So that's entirely how that tile works. So that's really not too bad. Okay, let's go over to the packages style, how that works. So what the packages style will display is the data that's coming out of packages. So in our Laravel application, we have the console folder, and I've got a little subdirectory called components. And for each component that fetches data from an external service, I got a subfolder here going on. Because sometimes we have multiple classes for pulling in data. Let's go over to that packages command here. So you can see here it is just a command with a signature. And we got a nice collection thing here going on. And at the end, we are just going to broadcast an event. Now, before going into that event side of things, let me show you the console kernel. So all those commands are scheduled. And you can see here that we fetch the calendar events every minute in the tasks of our dashboard every 5 minutes. So it's just scheduling of commands here to pull in the data. So let's go a little bit deeper here. We have here the totals fetched event. Those events there are just regular Laravel events. So we have a subdirectory for each of our components here as well. And totals fetched event is a very simple event. We are getting in an array of totals here, and then we are going to set public properties on this class. Why the hell should we do that? That's how the broadcasting system of Laravel works. Every public property of an event class that you are going to broadcast is going to be the data that you're actually going to broadcast. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. That totals fetched class, it just extends a dashboard event, and that dashboard event is pretty simple. So events are being broadcasted on a certain channel. In this project, we are going to use only one private channel called dashboard. So that's how that works. Okay, let's demonstrate that. So I'm here on the packages download 000. I have got nothing here. And in another tab here, let me clear that out, I got the pusher service open here. And it just displays every event that comes through. Now let's fire off that command that we were just seeing. So dashboards. Maybe I should explain that. I have a little alias here for calling artisan called A. It just executes artisan. So dashboard fetch packages totals. And with a little bit of help of the internet gods, this will go pretty fast. Come on, spray a little bit. Okay, there we go. And you can see here that there is an event that was fired off. And you can see here that we have our package totals here. And you can see that on our dashboard, those totals are present there as well. Okay, let's go over to the client side again to see how we got that data. Resources, assets, JavaScript, components, and we got our packages style here. And again, we got a template and a script and some state here. And we got a special method going on here. Get event handlers. And this returns an object in which each key is the name of an event, and the value is a function that should be executed when that event is catched. So we are going to take the response of the WebSocket, and we are going to take off the daily, the monthly, and total properties, and we are going to put that in the state of this component. That's how that works. And just by updating the internal state, the component will re-render. Now, that isn't the whole picture. We got a little mix-in here going on, and a mix-in, you can compare that to a trait in PHP. It's just for combining some functions that you want to apply to multiple classes. And we use that echo mix-in on each view component that needs to listen to the WebSockets. So let's take a look at that mix-in. Here you can see that we add a created function to each component where this mix-in is applied to. And we are going to use the echo property that's being defined on the root of our application. And we are going to listen on that private channel called dashboard. And here you see we are going to prefix app events and the event name used here. And that combined is the fully qualified class name of the event here. So that's how that's matched. So app events packagist totals fetched. That becomes here app events, and then in the view component packagist totals fetched. That's how that works. And here we are going to say that we are going to listen to that event and we are going to execute the handler. So that's how that works. Okay, let's take another look here. Because we don't have only that mixing events, we also have that save state event. Let's review what that thing does. So I've said that these components are getting updated by WebSockets. But if I refresh this page, then you can see that the data is still here. How do we do that? We do that with local storage. And that's what the save state mixin does. So if I go to the source code of that mixin, I'm not going to go into much detail here, but we are going to use a feature of Vue called Watcher. We are going to watch the internal data of a component, and whenever it is changed, we are going to save the state of that component to the local storage. And when the component is created, we are just going to load the state from local storage again. I can let you see that here. If I go to the local storage here, you can see that we store a lot of things here. And here is the packages data. If I remove that again, then it's when I refresh, I'm back to 0. Maybe this is also a good moment to show you that the dashboard is also entirely responsive. So I think on most TVs the ratio will be a little bit the same, but we've gone the extra mile of making it responsive as well. So that's how that works. Okay, let's review one more tile, the Twitter tile. So Twitter tile is a very easy tile because the real magic happens in that Twitter API package, streaming API package that we've made. Let's take a look at the command that we use for this. You can see that it's very easy. We are just going to resolve Twitter streaming API class out of the container. We are going to listen to the public stream. And when we hear certain events, we are just going to send out an event to the pusher service, and the whole cycle starts again. Now, I thought it might be a little bit fun to just listen for the Laracon hashtag here for a while, and to the Laracon US account. And let's just fire up the stream, and I want that you send some events so we can see this in action. So, dashboard. Listen, Twitter. Oh, listen, Twitter mentions. Okay, and now I want you to send something. Ah, thank you, Michael. That's cool. Raise to the phones, yeah. So you can see that, that it works here. If I inspect this a little bit, I hope we have... Okay, very good, Martin. So if I go to the internal state of that component, oh, there are lots of things here going on. So to avoid that our screen is going too fast, we put in a waiting line, and each 10 seconds or 5 seconds, I don't know by heart, it will move a tweet from the waiting line to the tweet that is being displayed. I think this is the largest waiting line that we've ever had. I think on Taylor's phone the notifications will also be going good. So that's how that works. I'll just leave this on for a little while. Okay, so what I want to show next. Ah yeah, right. I'm going to break off the Twitter stream in just a second. Sorry for everybody that's still waiting for their tweet. One thing that I want to show off real quick is I've got a few questions from people. Why do you use the pusher service? Why don't you do it locally with a node server? And it's it's actually quite easy to use something else than pusher, because the ecosystem is driver based. Let's show you that. Okay, I'm going to kill the Twitter stream here because I think you're watching that more than listening to my voice. Okay, so let's do that again. So all of the tweets are being written into the storage here. Up, obviously, tweet history. So here are the tweets written. Let me delete that for a sec. And then we have an empty screen here again. If I go to my environment file, you can see here there are more environment variables being set, but I don't want you to know our secrets going on here, so I only put the broadcast driver here. There's a project that someone made called the Laravel Echo Server, and that's just a little node thing. You can start on your computer here. Laravel Echo Server start. And hopefully it works. Yeah, we have an Echo server here now. Let me pull up the browser a bit. And I'm going to kill off the Wi-Fi connection, so I can't use the pusher service anymore. And if I go to the docs, I think it's dev docs dashboard demo here. If I have a little task here, dashboard send fake tweet. Hey, Laracon. And that didn't work. That's not that good. Okay, here it is. I had to refresh. That's a little thing, but if I solve that little bug, then I can just use the little node server to get the events. So that's how that works. Cool. Okay, that went pretty fine. There's one more thing that I'd like to show you, and that is how we display our dashboard on a TV. Well, behind that TV screen, there lives a little Raspberry Pi. And that's a Raspberry Pi 2. That's powerful enough for this dashboard, for displaying this dashboard. It's powered by the USB port coming from the TV, so we don't have an extra power connection. It uses Raspbian Jessie, which is a default operating system on the Raspberry Pi. And when it boots up, it just displays Chromium 65 in a full screen mode. Now, I've got here a clone of our actual dashboard Pi, and I'm going to power it up now. So I'm going to yank out the HDMI cable from my computer. I'm going to put it in here. Oh, I forgot. This Raspberry Pi will get will get internet connection from my laptop. So I need to log in back to the Wi-Fi. Hopefully that goes pretty fast. Yep, it did. And then I've got a power cable here that's just plugged in the USB port of my Mac. And let's put it in, and hopefully we see it starting up. This is actually the most exciting part of the presentation for me. So I hope that that this works. So it's going to start up its graphical shell, and yeah, I'm a real programmer. So we are going to see Chrome starting up, and it displays that restore pages things. I don't know how to turn it off, so I just quit Chrome again and just start up again. That's that's how I solved it. And this time it didn't work. Okay, I still have that thing, so yeah, I should be a more real programmer, but the dashboard still works. So almost 90%. Cool. Okay, let's go back to the Mac here and plug it back in. And hopefully we get a picture quick. Yeah. Okay, so I've shown you the dashboard, how it works. I think that it's not too difficult if you know your way around Laravel in Vue. So the source code is up on GitHub. I've also written an extensive blog post about it. It just contains everything that I've said here, but I also explain a few different components as well. So, wrapping up. I've been babbling here the whole time, so you might think, yeah, this guy just made this all by himself, but that's not true. It was a team effort. So my colleague, Willem, he made the dashboard look very pretty, and he recently modernized it, so the CSS grid is being used. And my colleague, Sebastian, just scrutinized and beautified the terrible JavaScript that I wrote myself. There are a few more packages that I want to mention that we've used in this demo. So we have the Laravel Echo server. It works. It just didn't work for my demo, but when I will do it in 5 minutes, it'll work. That thing that saves the state of a Vue component, that's also a package that we've made. So you can pull that in and just use it in your own packages or in your own Vue components. And this is the link to, the last one is the link to our uptime monitor, which is fairly easily plugged into our dashboard. We thought we are going to write an extra API for getting the uptime, but what we actually do is we've made another Laravel application where we used our uptime monitor in, and we just broadcast the events on the same channel as the dashboard. So it was really no work to integrate that with the dashboard at all. So, thank you for listening. If you want to see the slides again, I've uploaded them to Speaker Deck. Be sure to take a look at our company page, where we list all the Laravel packages that we've made. I'm pretty sure there's something there for everybody. And if you want to stay up to date with what's happening in the PHP world and Laravel world, check out my blog. So, I don't know if there's time for questions now, but I can take questions if you have any. Yeah. No? No questions. Okay, no questions, sorry.